Hi guys and gals, Froggy here. You may recall from another video, or you may not, but I will tell you. I got these 10 round magazines, single stack, from mec-gar, M-E-C-G-A-R, and they jam in my 1911 because right there, because they have this little thing here. I call it a punch out. Some other guys didn't know what I was talking about, but they have that as part of the magazine. I think it's supposed to prevent over insertion on a stock original unmolested 1911. Mine has this tapered well on the bottom of it, because if you look at these other ones, this is McCormick, doesn't have it. This is Checkmate, doesn't have it. Those are 7 round, so they don't count. But these guys, mec-gar, put that on there, and it's screwing me up because it's getting jammed up in there. Just a couple of millimeters, but enough so that it will not drop the mag. I can't drop the mag, so they're no good. What I'm going to try to do, Brandon at Checkmate is sent me one of his magazines and some of these parts to his magazines, and this bottom plate or floor plate. I'm going to try to modify the mec-gars so that I can get rid of this or cover it up or something and use this Checkmate style of it's like a bumper on the bottom, and it also prevents the over insertion, so it does 2 things. So anyway, I modified some of these anyway, these mec-gars, so that if you dropped them, it didn't damage or didn't make a big mess out of the magazine. And that actually works pretty good with just some felt, thick felt, and some wrap. This is a silicone tape that sticks to itself. But I'm going to take that all off. I'm going to take this one apart and try to put this on it. So here we go.
Holy moly, it's hot out.
So here's my theory. I'm not a gunsmith, so you guys can shoot holes in it or whatever. Hey, pun intended. This back part of the top of the magazine has to match up on my modified one with one that works, the Checkmate. And where this ends up being attached on the bottom has to match up. And the rest of it in between doesn't matter that much. So this bottom, I'm going to take this one apart and see what the bottom looks like. And it's going to be different, I think. Well, the first thing I'm noticing is that that's a very tight, very nice finish actually on the mec-gar, but I don't think it's designed to easily open up, because I'm pulling on, I'm fairly strong enough. I'm pulling on this and it's not budging, and I don't want to bend this or damage it or muck it up to try and get it off. So maybe I'll try and do something and leave it on there. Okay, so the Checkmate, on the other hand, is made to come apart, because I just took that little chopstick thing and shoved it in the hole there and pushed like that, and it started to slide. So there's a pretty significant difference right there. Now let's take this off. Okay, so here's what we have. There's what I would call a tongue and groove That's a woodworking term, but you guys can tell me what it's really supposed to be called. That holds this on to the checkmate base, which is designed for that, with these pieces of the magazine that curl around on 90-degree angles. Okay. Looks like the only thing I'm going to be able to do, maybe, without a huge amount of fabrication or whatever, which is probably above my head and it might not be worth it anyway, is to try and fit this plastic or rubbery plastic, whatever the material is, onto here without disturbing that base, which is pretty hard to get out. So let's try. Alrighty, so put all those tools away. Come to find out, you have to take a standard type 1911 magazine apart from the top. And then I can look down there and see what's on the bottom. So you have to just push this down, tilt this and pull it out, and you can put something through there to catch the spring, compress and catch the spring a little bit. Okay, so that was pretty easy, and now we'll just safely remove the spring and I can look down in there. I'm taking a little picture there of how this goes together so that I know which way to face that loop. So looking down in there, and I'm gonna see if I can show you what I can see. It's a pretty good picture. What I'm seeing is a whole lot of nothing. There's nothing special about what's holding that floor plate in there. I can see like little tiny, like a tiny indent there. So it's either been crimped on there, maybe a little micro weld, but I don't think it's a micro weld because I would see some evidence there. And I don't. So I think this is just a very good mechanical fit, and I think they call that an interference fit, where you just press it in. So there's no groove or anything. It's just that this piece is exactly made to fit the floor piece there, and there's just one little notch out right there, right where my thumbnail is. There's a little notch there, and that's it. I think they just stick it in there, and maybe there's a press that crimps down on that with decent amount of pressure, and that sheet steel of the magazine just grabs onto this piece here, I guess. So where does that leave us? Well, I think where that leaves us is right here. I could slice off that spot right there so that this piece would come through, right? Follow me? And if I did that, I think it would line up okay this way, but I think I'm going to be off that much, or I'm going to be off something as far as this measurement here, which has to be correct. Whoops. You see what I'm saying? Let me see if I can line them up. So you machinist guys out there must be really having a good time laughing at me, right? Because I'm not even doing any measuring. But here, I'm going to go from here as being a correct alignment. I don't want them to fall over like that. Let's try again. All right. So you can see there's an extra length of about 2 to 3 millimeters there. I can grind that off, so that would eliminate that problem. So here's what I'm thinking. I would insert the magazine. The over insertion issue that I'm thinking about, it'll lock on this, right? The magazine will lock into correct position with this slot, which should be good on both my fabricated magazine and an unmolested magazine. So it'll lock in okay. I'll grind that off so it won't jam up in the well. This will be too long. With this will not be preventing the over insertion, but this might be preventing over insertion. In other words, long story short, I think if I stick that on there somehow or another, silicone, grind that off and give it a try, we'll see what happens. That's all I got right now. Okay, so I'm going to try that. So just, I'm thinking out loud here. Let's say this was a 20 round magazine or 100 or whatever, just to be crazy. It doesn't matter where this locates. It still makes a nice pad so you can drop the magazine, but it doesn't matter how far out there it is if, as my theory is, this is doing the whole location for the magazine. This and, being a good fit circumference-wise around the edges of it. This, and pretty much I'm saying forget about whatever's down here and grind that off. Okay? Oh, and one more thing I forgot to mention. I have to trim right down there so that this will be flush in there. I am briefly thinking about trimming out that little bit in there, the part that I call the tongue and groove part. But I don't know how I'd get that out there without using like an X-Acto knife or just doing it all by hand. I guess I could use a Dremel tool and Dremel it out, but it's going to be not very clean. It'll be kind of lumpy, bumpy. I don't know. I think I'll just try to set it on top like that. I scratched on that with an awl to see if I could tell if it's the same material, this flat piece, and then the curvy part of it. Because it looked to me like it was almost a piece of metal set into the plastic, but I don't think so. I think it is all the same material. It's just a very precision mold that it's made from, I think. One other thing I want to show you is these, as far as this fitting up against this part right here, the checkmate, I'll have to do that. I'm doing this one-handed. There. The checkmate has like almost a perfect fit right there. Let me drop it. Now, again, one-handed. This is a Springfield magazine. Yeah. And you see? Whoop. There. Sorry, it wasn't all the way in. See that gap there? That's not really like a super perfect fit anyway. That's the original Springfield magazine, which doesn't have a name Springfield on it. But anyway, Just came across that, so I wanted to show you. That also would lead me to think that it's not this black part here or here that has anything to do with over insertion or locating it correctly or any of that stuff. It's just a slot. It's all on this slot here. So I gotta go right now, go to the gym, and tonight or tomorrow I'll start doing a little cutting with my Dremel tool, or maybe my I've got another wheel cutting tool, and we'll see what we come up with. Okay, let's get back to this magazine. I'll just show you real quick how I rig up my Dremel. I've got power in the middle of the garage, which I'll tell you, if you ever want to do something to make your life simpler, just put one of these things up in the middle of your garage ceiling, and then you've got a power cord everywhere and just rolls right up. Anyway, just loop it over there, and I've got this flexible shaft on my Dremel, which is a real nice addition to the Dremel. Instead of having to hold the whole big tool, you can actually hold this like a pencil almost. So I put a little grinding cone on there, and I'm gonna grind that off. So the older I get, the smarter I get. So I bought these little soft vise jaw covers, and I'm going to stick it in there. Then I can just focus on not having to hold one end and grind the other end. Maybe I can even show you. Yeah. No, I'm not going to show you the whole thing, but I'll show you what I'm doing. Just going to grind it off like that. Okie dokie. So it looks like there's a little ridge there, but there isn't. It's just it's tiny, so I'm not going to go anymore, because I know that I'll end up just with a hole there, and as it is right now, that's a very thin bit of metal right there, but there's no hole really. So that's going to go up and down, and if it needs to move up a little and down a little bit in the magazine, it'll be okay. So that's part one. So part two is going to be to cut a sort of slot where this can stick out of this boot piece, and to line that up, I'm just going to eyeball it, because I see like that and like that. I'm going to use two hands and do it a little nicer, but it's going to be like right about there, and then it's going to cut a slot. So I think right about there where I marked it with the whiteout pen is I think that's where the cut should be made. Well, I wasn't quite sure where my cut should be, so I ended up with a couple of cuts, but I also think I'm going to need a little wider cut, so I made myself a little sandwich of cutting blades, and this is more melting than cutting, I think, so it's kind of gumming up my wheels, but I don't really have a saw blade in this kit, so I need to do that, make a note to buy some small Dremel saw blades. So let's try this. Okay, so we're starting to come through there, and you can see, and I'll clean all this up later. So I just want to get it wide enough for that little shoe thing to stick through. Well, I think I'll just take a knife, a blade, and clean some of this up. Well, there you go. The cut is way bigger than what it needed to be, but that's okay. I'm going to wrap the bottom of this with that tape like that there. I'll make it nice and neat. And I just needed to, so See, that fits nicely, 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 nicely. So it might work. Anyway, I am just going to tape that up and we'll do some function testing. See if I have enough time to do this. I got about another 20 minutes. Okay. So I just lay it down here. And this is the McCormick that works. This is the checkmate that works. And that's the one that I'm making out of parts. I think it's going to work. This is the stuff I've been talking about. There's 2 or 3 different brands. It sticks to itself. So, there you go. So actually, as it turns out, and make lemonade out of lemons, the big cut, the oversized cut is good because I wrapped the fix-it tape into this extra groove area so that this boot wouldn't slide off, because otherwise it has a tendency to go that way. It could just slide off because there's really nothing holding it on there. Well, I suppose if this cut was exactly made right, it would hold it on there. But anyway, I wrap the tape like that. As you can see, it sticks to itself, but it's not sticky, so it's pretty cool tape. And looks like that'll stay on. I might wrap it again and just double wrap it. Okay, so I don't need to show you. I just shoved the spring back in and the follower back in, and that was all pretty easy. So let's try it unloaded first. Let me see if I can set this camera up. Okay, I put it up on a tripod. Usually I don't put stuff on a tripod because I just can't shoot the stuff that I do either on a car or on my bench. I like to have the camera move around, but for this, I think the tripod works. So, these are original Springfield magazines, 45 ACP, 45 Auto, and this is what I made. So, let's try it. We're unloaded. Let's try it. That. And I didn't stage this. I didn't even try this first to make sure that it works. So that's good. You see what my theory was about the lockup is this right here. It's got nothing really to do with the bottom end. Let's drop it. All right. I'm not. I wasn't pushing the button down far enough. That's not it. That's me. Whoop. Got myself a little bite. So let's try it. Okay. It's going to bleed a little bit. Let's try it loaded. Shit. Let me wrap this up. Okay. Sorry about that. Good for a laugh, though. Not too bad. So let's put 10 rounds in here. Have I still got my loader here somewhere? Well, I don't know what happened to my loader. It's 3, 4, 7, 8, 9, 10. Load is probably right in front of me here somewhere. 7, 8, 9. Because I haven't changed anything here, so you know it's still a 10-round magazine. Come on, baby. It's gonna go back. All right, let's do 9. I don't want you guys to see me struggle on that 10th one. All right, so here's, without putting anything in the round, in the chamber. All right, nothing in the chamber. No, it's not going to drop. Oh, excuse me, it was not locked in correctly, so we'll try that again. It drops okay. Well, let's just try this. Now maybe if I push it in too fast, all right, that one locked. If I push it in too fast, it may actually be that it's not locking in. So I might have to do something down here to prevent that from going up so high so fast. And I think a few wraps of this tape right on that edge will probably fix that. But if I just jiggle it, it locks in. If I go slow, it locks in. If I go fast, there, it was not locked in. So I need to prevent the over insertion. See this gap here? I'm just going to have to, I'm going to try wrapping some tape, which, okay, that's kind of a temporary fix, but this tape is good stuff. It lasts a long time, so, you know, maybe every 500 uses, or well, maybe every 20 or 30 or 50 uses of each magazine, you'd need to wrap the tape again. So that's no big deal to me. Let's see if it strips off okay, I'm going to assume. Yeah, see, that was good. Okay, so I'm going to drop this mag, clear the gun, and I'm going to call it a wrap. So, this might not even help 5 guys in the world, because it's a mec-gar magazine that's used on a gun that has this taper. Alright, that's really the only point of this. This magazine will probably work okay in a standard 1911 that doesn't have this tapered attachment here. So if it helps a few guys, that was the whole point. If you have fun watching Froggy chip away at his finger, that's good too. Give me a thumbs up or a like if this helps you out. I will record some live fire on this, but it's going to be on a separate video, okay? And be safe, have fun. Second Amendment. You guys take care. Bye-bye. Let me just show you. I got to laugh. You know, my fingerprints unlocked the phone, so now I'm down to 1 finger. Anyway, I wrapped what I did what I told you I was going to do, and it works great. So you can just tap it in, it locks, drop it, push it, drop it. So this is taking the place of that little stopper thing there. And this tape will last, you'll just have to take my word for it, it'll last for probably, it's not hitting any really sharp corner. Whoops. So I say it lasts at least 10, 20, maybe 50 uses. I'll mark how many times this is used. I'll just make little marks on it, and we'll see how long. And I still will show you live fire. Okay? See ya. Bye-bye.